Hi and welcome to another episode of Delaware County Political News, Meet the Expert. I am your host, Larry DeMarco, and today we are here with Shelly Rahman, the Executive Director of the Delaware County Democratic Party. Shelly was born in Bangladesh and moved to the United States in 1974. She came to Philadelphia in 1975 to attend graduate school and went to the Philadelphia College of Pharmacy and Sciences, which is now known as University of Sciences in Philadelphia. She worked for Thomson Reuters for 35 years. She and her husband Abu moved to Delaware County in 1979 and lives in Newtown Sq. She joined the DelcoDems in late 80s, and she was in the Democratic State Committee for 12 years, a Hillary Clinton delegate in 2008, and also in 2016. Presently, she serves as the Executive Director of the Delaware County Democratic Party. Shelly, thank you for being a guest on Delaware County Political News.
Thank you, Larry. I'm very honored that you call me an expert.
We're honored to have you as a guest on our show.
Thank you.
Shelly, we were discussing when you first came here, what did you observe in Bangladesh before you came to the United States?
You know, Bangladesh is a third world country, and it was Pakistan before, part of Pakistan. And United States, always we admire and look up to United States, where democracy plays a big role. This is country. So it's kind of dream for us. But unfortunately, I had a bad experience. Like in 1971, East Pakistan that time, the ruling party lost the election. The opposition, the majority was from East Pakistan, won the election. The ruling party didn't hand over the power. Rather, they called martial law and had a military crackdown.
This is 3 years before you came here, right, Shelly?
Yes, 1971. And that's when United States disappointed me. Their foreign policy, I started understanding the foreign policy and their internal policy, there was a big difference. Instead of supporting the winning party who won the election, United States supported Pakistan martial law, the military junta. And they supplied arms and ammunition. So that was the shocking experience I had, that they didn't support democracy.
What did you gain from that experience in Bangladesh about the United States government?
The government, one thing I learned, that their foreign policy doesn't align with their internal policy. And plus, another thing I learned, that even the government supported the Pakistani army, the people were supporting the party who wants the election, independent of Bangladesh. And how do I know? Because Kennedy was in Senate that time. He openly supported us. And more than that, when United States was supplying arms to Pakistan, a group of activists from Philadelphia with the Longshoremen Union, they stopped loading the ammunition in Pakistani ship from Baltimore to Boston. That was the surprise. It's called blockade of 1971. So that's where democracy works in that country. Even the government had a different foreign policy.
But the union workers helped
Union worker and
here.
the activists from Philadelphia, I'm back to Philadelphia, they took small dinghy and stopped the loading of arms and ammunition to Pakistani ship from Baltimore to Boston.
So what did you learn about being an activist from all this, Shelly?
That's when I learned, wow, what a beautiful country. It works. The difference I could see, even the government, did not support the democracy, but democracy still works there.
What is your view on the Trump administration's policy on immigration now?
Right now, Trump policy, I don't think he has a policy. It's just like he's the symptom of a major problem the country is facing. I don't look at his immigration policy. I look at his taking away the rights of the citizen. Because I am a first generation immigrant, but I'm a citizen since 1979. So in all respect, I'm a citizen. Nobody can deny it and nobody can take it away from me. As a citizen, I have the right to bring my family. I knew that when I took the oath. That was the policy of immigration, that I can bring my brother, sister, but Trump is opposing that. So for me, of course, it's an immigration policy, that's directly, but it's more than that. He's taking away a right from a citizen, because that was my right, I can bring my family. So if he can get away with it, what's next? He can take away more rights from us.
From anyone and everyone?
Anyone and everyone. So that's how I feel. It's not just an immigration policy, it's more than that.
It's a civil rights policy.
It's civil rights policy.
Switching gears for now, I understand you were in Democratic State Committee for 12 years. What was your experience there?
Oh, I was so happy to be in the State Committee. You have to understand, I came very young and I was learning every day. I do not know at what point me and Abu, my husband, became part of the Democratic Party and how we know Cliff Wilson, Tony Campisi, people like them. But I remember somehow we got involved with them and I started learning many things about how the government is run, how the two-party system works. So, and then finally, one day, Cliff Wilson comes and gave me the opportunity to become the state committee person. My first appointment was I was appointed. Later on, I ran for the election and became a state committee. But the first time, it was Cliff Wilson. I really have to thank him for making me what I am today, because I learned a lot from him.
Now, this would have been sometime in the 90s, if I'm not...
Yes, late 90s. So I don't remember the exact dates, but that's when I got involved.
Shelly, very briefly, what is State Committee before I ask what your observations were? What is State Committee?
The State Committee is like Democratic Party. We have DNC, that's the national level. Under that, every state has a committee. So Pennsylvania has a Pennsylvania State Committee, which is pretty much a structure like DelcoDems. And we have to run to become a committee person to the state committee. So that time we support the chairperson in the state. So it's similar to what we have in DelcoDems, but it's the state.
Sure. So for instance, if somebody runs for a committee person of their local township, you ran for a state committee person. And what is the function of a state committee person?
The function of the state committee, in general, if you want to talk about it, is just keep on the process of electing people, elect Democrat in different offices statewide, and promote democracy, build the Democratic Party. But there could be more to it. But fundamentally, that's what it is. It's the Democratic Party, state level, elect more Democrat.
And there's a biannual meeting twice a year, is it?
Quarterly meeting.
Quarterly meeting. And what is the function of state committee around election times?
Around election time, one of the function which is pretty important, the most important function, is endorsing the candidate. And that endorsement happens by voting. So the biggest power the committee people have is to vote who they are going to endorse. By endorsement, like before the primary, it can happen both ways. We can have an open primary. But first, we get the opportunity to endorse candidate. So, for example, somebody running for District 7 Congress. So there will be election. If I think it's 2/3, I forgot the number, 65% of the vote, then the candidate will be endorsed. And it goes till somebody gets the 65% vote. And if it doesn't happen, then it's an open primary.
And for people who remember when Governor Wolf was ran for governor, there were several Democratic gubernatorial candidates. And Shelly, if you were state committee at that time, it was the state committee who would have endorsed either Governor Wolf or any of his opponents
yes.
to run for governor. And that is the important function that you're talking about. When people go to the ballot and they say, here is our endorsed officials on the state level, for instance, governor, those appellate court judges, that's the function of state committee, correct?
At the state level, because once you endorse, the party will campaign for the endorsed candidate. Other candidate, even if they're running, is immaterial to the Democratic Party. They have to their own, because we'll be campaigning only for the endorsed candidate.
And that's all the state resources behind
that goes. That's what I mean by campaigning. All the resources, the money, the volunteers, everything will go for the endorsed candidate.
To make an important point, there is an election behind the scenes that goes on between Democratic or Republican candidates
within the
party
yes.
for these endorsements,
yes.
And those elections are amongst committee people, whether it's state candidates for with state committee people or local endorsement fights for local candidates.
Yes.
So, Shelly, when you were in state committee, what did you observe at the nominating conventions and the other meetings?
When I went to the state committee, I was a little bit of surprised with the function, because I was nominated, went to the state committee first meeting, but I didn't get the feel that state committee was asking for something from me. Because the minute I took the position, I assume I will have some responsibility, some accountability, because I'm an elected or nominated committee person. But to my surprise, I didn't see that. The meeting was mostly process-oriented. And by that I meant that you go there, they will train you how to do the petitions, how we nominate people, and there was no strategy discussion that how we build a party. So it's kind of like business as usual every day, every time you go there. And what happens, you'll see some committee people are very active, very passionate about it. They're doing their work. Like Nancy Bullis from I'm just mentioning one name. She's amazing. How hard, how seriously she was taking her job. Then I will see some people didn't even care to come to the meeting. So,
but they still held the title.
But still held the title. Only role they had, the power, is to the candidate endorsement. They took that seriously. But other than that, there was no. So for me, the role was, which one I want to be. Should I follow Nancy Bullis? Or just be comfortable not doing anything and just hold the title? It sounds very good. I'm endorsing the candidate. So it was my choice. What kind of a state committee person I wanted to be. So that was kind of, but then I rationalized that people in general in the United States are very comfortable at where they are. For me, I had to fight for democracy. I have seen in Bangladesh people dies, hundreds and thousands of people died for fighting for democracy and to right for the election. But over here, it's like given. Everybody is very comfortable. But that change. We'll see it soon. So.
All right, well, Shelly, during that time,
Mm-hmm.
I see how important the country and the federal issues were. How much attention did you give to local politics?
Oh, I'm really ashamed to even
True confessions. True confessions.
Tell you not much. I was present in every activities. I will attend the dinner, but really I didn't do much at a local level. As when I went to the state committee and I found out I could be anybody I want to be, I could be like CDS like Nancy Bullock, who is working hard at a local level. All right, I could be just relaxing, and so I decided to get involved at a national level. The reason is because it's more sexy, it sounds nice, I get to meet Obama, I get to meet celebrities, and so I put all my effort into that, and so much that I was Hillary Clinton delegate twice without any hard work. Both the time I got the most vote to be a delegate. But that also changed in last election.
That brings us to the last election.
Mm-hmm.
What went on with you personally after the presidential election of 2016?
That was a wake-up call. It was like anybody, many people, they were shocked. I was shocked. And people I saw, many of my friends, co-worker, other committee people were angry on the Republican Party, on Donald Trump. But my reaction was slightly different. Maybe others also reacted. I questioned myself, what did I do wrong? Not just me, my party. Election, we thought that we already won the election, but we lost to a person who is not even qualified. What did we do wrong? And I started analyzing many things. And if I want to be critical, I could be critical of many people, but I will start with me. The first thing I saw, that I ignored the local party. So I start looking around and start thinking that majority of the state government is Republican. Majority of the local government are Republican. And here I'm working hard to make the national government Democrat. How? If all the local government are Republican, then majority is already Republican. What will change that we all of a sudden, at a national level, we all become Democrat in the government? It doesn't work that way. So I need to do more. I have to get involved at a local level.
What action did you take?
First few days or about a month, I didn't do anything. I'm just wondering and talking to myself and talking to others and criticizing all my Democratic friends that they didn't do enough. So they understood I was very frustrated. Then all of a sudden, Abu said, do you know, he just received an email from David Landau that they're looking for an executive director for the DelcoDems. So I looked at him. I says, "Do you think I can go there and work and make a difference?" Do you know what was his response? He said, "Oh, Shelly, I'm not qualified." And I said, "Why?" First he said, they need a young person because there is a lot of work.
Shelly, even a prophet is not appreciated at home.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And so he said, I don't have the strength because it needs a lot of work. A young person should be there. So another friend convinced me that I should at least have a conversation with David Lander. And I gave him a call. And from there, here I am.
Well, now that you've let the cat out of the bag about Abu, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking to speak with him. Shelly, you took over after Trump took office.
Mm-hmm.
As an ethnic minority, have you personally noticed a difference on how you or other minorities have been treated?
I have a very different viewpoint about the minority. I am a minority, but do you know, I never feel like a minority. I never consider myself a minority. And the way I act, the way I force myself and do everything, I truly believe I'm an American and not a minority. So just because that, I never felt that somebody's treating me like a minority. But I do see many people who comes to the office, interacts minority, they walk into the office with the understanding that they will be treated differently than the others, the white American. They just assume it, and they will walk into the office feeling that way.
And so what type of attitude do they develop from being treated that way?
That way, one of the thing is a very positive thing I notice among themselves, and I can compare with the white Americans also. When they walk in, they come very prepared. Their question will be very specific. Like, if I send them email, they will walk in and says, Shelly, they read my email, but they have a question. Can I help with that? And then, if I want offer help, a lot of time they will say, oh, we know how to do it. Just tell me about this little bit so I can do it.
Requesting clarification or something specific?
Something very specific, but you can see they're trying hard to learn the process, do better. But in contrast, I sometimes see the white Americans, they are very relaxed and very comfortable, and they do not think that they have to do the extra. I will often hear, oh, I don't read email. Oh, I didn't read your email. Tell me, just do it for me, Shelly. So, to me, that's a wake-up call. It's okay. Okay, do it for me. I'm your friend. I will do it. The Delco office has a service, take care of everything. But in the long term, that's very negative.
So this is a strong statement. You are the executive director of the Delaware County Democratic Party, and you're giving this observation. Give us the sample size of how many individuals, both of all types of cultures, minority, Caucasian, how much interaction have you had with people to make such a powerful comment?
I want to clarify one thing. I don't mean in a negative way. These are all the positive, even if they are because they have a good reason to be comfortable. But as a forward-looking statement I'm making, that those are the area needs change and we need to be So it's not a negative. I don't want anybody to...
Well, so people can take this as a positive.
As a positive
for
feedback.
the positive that you intend it to be. What is your sample size? How many?
My sample size is quite big because one thing, I took the job in January and immediately there was a lot of things was happening in Delaware County. So I got exposed right away to a huge group of people. Like, if you remember the town hall we had, what's next? There was over 500 people. And I almost made connection, at least more than half of them. Personally, they talked to me, they called me then. And then I took the initiative of getting closer to all the chairperson of every municipality, because I'm big in sending email. And that's how I started slowly getting expanding my knowledge, you can say, and trying to understand the committee where help is needed more. And by observing this thing, I didn't sit down quietly. I made them do it. And I said, you have to do it. You do not know how to file the petition? I will go with them to the courthouse. But they have to do it. I'm not going to do it for them.
Shelly, you've been around the county and the Democratic Party, but you're new to executive office. Have you noticed a change in the enthusiasm since Trump took office?
Absolutely. You don't even have to mention it. It's in the air. You can see it, you can feel it, how things have changed, and a lot of way it makes me a little nervous. Do you know why? Because now I have a job as the executive director in the office. So I need to support all these people, all this excitement. Their energy has to be channeled properly. And how I am doing it, am I failing it? So I take extra steps to make sure all these energies are channeled properly. Because people are excited. If we do not motivate them or help them, it will just disappear at one point. People get tired. People have other responsibility. They have to make their living. So, but I try to keep up with them. I'm not just at the county office. I'm also involved with the indivisible group. Not directly through Abu, he's a leader of one of the indivisible group, but I keep contact with them to make sure I hear them, what they're saying, what they're discussing, and if needed, I need to channel that to our chair, our committee. But the excitement is there.
Shelly, I want to ask you more about this excitement, but we need to take a break. Can you stay for a little bit while longer after we take a short break?
Sure. I'll be happy to stay.
Thank you so much. We have been here with Shelly Rahman, and I am your host, Larry DeMarco. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and to forward this link to all the friends on your contact list and Facebook friends. Tune in for part 2. We're signing off. Tune in next time. Bye for now.